You're watching by choice, or so you believe your will is free.
Night blankets Los Angeles airport, the air buzzing with anticipation. Flight 701 emerges from the darkness, a mechanical beast ready for flight. Red taillights blink rhythmically, a signal of departure in the vast night. The aircraft taxis onto the runway, its journey about to begin. Inside Flight 701, David Miller clutches his black backpack, his knuckles white, anxiety etched on his face. The cabin lights cast long shadows, amplifying the palpable tension radiating from David. Emily Parker watches David, her expression unreadable, a detached curiosity in her gaze. Inside Flight 701, hushed and dark, figures settle into their seats as the journey begins. 2 rows back, Jack Turner observes, his eyes sharp, missing nothing in the cabin's dim glow. An intensity burns in his stare, a silent quest unfolding amidst the hum of the engines. David's phone flashes, no service, fueling his growing unease in the confined space. His nervous gaze sweeps across the passengers, each face a mask in the dim cabin light, amplifying his isolation. With deliberate slowness, David begins to unzip his backpack. His hands clench and unclench, a silent language of inner turmoil only Emily seems to notice. Emily watches, her gaze unwavering, determined to uncover the secrets hidden within David. Each gesture, each glance from David, scrutinized under the watchful eyes of Jack. In the confined space, suspicion hangs heavy, a palpable cloud around David. Inside Flight 701, tension spikes as David suddenly rises, a stark contrast to the calm of the other passengers. He clutches his backpack tightly, knuckles white against the worn fabric, his anxiety palpable. His movements are hurried, almost frantic, betraying an inner turmoil he struggles to conceal. Each step he takes towards the restroom is charged with a sense of urgency and hidden purpose. The hum of the engines is the only sound as Jack observes. Inside Flight 701, Jack leans in, observing someone across the aisle with a sharp, keen interest. His voice a low murmur. Jack asks, "Notice how often he gets up?" Emily shifts, a subtle shrug barely concealing her true feelings amidst the confined space. Her eyes betray a hint of concern, despite the carefully constructed facade of indifference. She says, "Maybe he's just nervous," but the words lack conviction, floating into the tense atmosphere. Jack said he didn't want to alarm anyone, but he had seen enough to be concerned about what was in the bag, and he briefly flashed his air marshal badge toward Emily. Every flicker of light, every subtle vibration becomes a clue, as Jack's mind races, piecing together the unseen puzzle. Inside the cramped restroom of Flight 701, David's ragged breath echoes as he locks the door, seeking a moment of desperate privacy. A bead of sweat trickles down his forehead, mirroring his inner turmoil. "Come on," he whispers, his voice barely audible above the hum of the plane. Inside Flight 701, night falls as Lisa navigates the aisle, a beacon of service in the dim cabin. She expertly offers drinks, her movements practiced and graceful amidst the hum of the aircraft. Each passenger receives her gentle attention, a momentary escape in the shared journey. Jack leans in towards Lisa, lowering his voice to a near whisper. Quietly, "Security issue." "What kind?" she asks, her voice barely a whisper against the hum of the engines, fear etched on her face. Jack told Lisa that the passenger with the bag was acting suspiciously, and should be watched closely. David emerges from the cramped restroom, his face pale and slick with sweat. His grip tightens on the backpack, knuckles white against the worn fabric. Emily watches David, her smile fading like a vapor in the cold night air. The subtle shift in her expression hints at unspoken concerns. A silent question hangs between them, heavy with uncertainty. Sudden turbulence rocks. Flight 701, metal groaning under immense stress. Passengers gasp, fear etched on their faces. Overhead compartments rattle violently, threatening to spill their contents onto the terrified passengers below. A cup overturns, hot liquid spreading across the aisle, a stark symbol of the chaos unfolding. Outside, lightning flashes illuminate the wings, revealing the storm's terrifying power over the helpless plane. David abruptly rises, a strange urgency in his movement that disturbs the quiet. He quickly retreats back to his seat, a wave of embarrassment flushing his face. Brian, the passenger who'd been suspicious of David all along, rises abruptly, his face etched with urgency. His accusatory finger stabs the air, aimed directly at David, spotlighting him in the dim cabin. A tense silence descends as all eyes turn toward the confrontation, the air thick with unease. Brian's voice cuts through the hum, a sharp command echoing in the confined space. "Hey, stay seated." David raises his hands defensively, a flicker of fear in his darting eyes. His voice wavers, trying to maintain composure. "I'm fine. Sir, is everything all right? Do you need medical assistance?" Lisa asks, her voice gentle. David seems lost in thought, barely registering Lisa's presence in the softly lit cabin. David's forced nod barely masks his rising panic. Aboard Flight 701, tension fills the cabin as Brian's gaze intensifies, suspicion etched across his face. His eyes narrow, focusing intently on an unseen subject within the confined space of the aircraft. Brian's demand cuts through the quiet hum of the engines. "Show us the bag." The simple request hangs heavy, promising confrontation and uncertainty in the night air. David recoils, his knuckles white as he tightens his grip, bracing himself. His eyes dart around, pleading. "No, it's medical. Please," he insists, his voice a strained whisper. Whispers turn to hushed pleas as the passenger's agitation becomes palpable. Why won't he show it? The question hangs heavy in the air, a desperate cry for answers. Jack's calm facade hides a burning intensity, his eyes sharp in the dimness. "Nobody wants to hurt you," Jack says, a plea hanging in the air. "Just set the bag down. Slow." David is frozen, his face a battleground of conflict under the dim cabin lights. Brian, eyes wide with urgency, makes a sudden move. Ryan's hand shoots out, a desperate grab. He seizes David's wrist in a tight grip. Panic surges through David as he pulls his arm back sharply. His breath hitches, a silent gasp lost in the hum of the engines. A passenger's terrified shout pierces the rising chaos. "He's reaching!" Panic spreads like wildfire, consuming all reason as Flight 701 teeters on the brink. Lisa's tear-streaked face glows in the emergency lights, a beacon of resolve. Her voice, strained but firm, cuts through the chaos. "Stop!" Lisa cries out, her command echoing in the distressed cabin. David is violently wrestled to the floor. The cramped space amplifies the struggle, every movement desperate and fraught with tension. Panic fills the cabin as the situation spirals out of control. Lisa knuckles white with fear. An overhead compartment hangs slightly ajar, hinting at hidden stories within. Below, an open backpack reveals vials of insulin and scattered needles under faint light. Faded medical labels hint at a silent drama unfolding amidst the passengers. Dim cabin lights cast long shadows, etching the horror on Emily's face as she grapples with a tragic revelation. Her breath hitches, a silent scream trapped in her throat as the awful truth dawns. Tears well in her wide eyes, reflecting the cabin lights as she whispers, "Oh my God, he is diabetic." Inside Flight 701, Brian's eyes are fixed on David's still form, a horrified realization creeping into his expression. A wave of shock washes over Brian. The dim cabin light casts eerie shadows around. Brian stammers, his voice barely a whisper in the tense air. He's not moving. He's dead. Amidst the chaos, Jack stands with a composed expression, seemingly detached from the unfolding crisis. Shadows dance on Jack's face, accentuating the sharp lines of his jaw as he surveys the scene. Dim cabin lights paint long shadows as Lisa sits frozen, her gaze lost in the abyss of her thoughts. Emily spoke, each word heavy with a truth she could no longer deny. Jack's stern gaze pierces through the fraught atmosphere, his words carrying the weight of life and death. He spoke, lives at stake, a moment of courage saved all. In the plane's rear galley, Jack stares into the abyss of the dark window, his face a mask of brooding thoughts. His reflection flickers, barely visible against the infinite night outside. A subtle, inhuman flicker momentarily distorts his features, a secret glimpse into his true nature. The unsettling change vanishes as quickly as it appears, leaving only Jack's enigmatic gaze. "I don't kill them. I just invite them to show me what they are," Jack finishes. Lisa, her hand trembling, speaks into the intercom, a bead of sweat trickling down her face. "We have a medical incident," Lisa announces, her voice wavering slightly, betraying her fear. When the plane makes an emergency landing at a nearby airport, police and paramedics board, Lisa flinches, and Emily avoids eye contact as Jack replies, "Threat neutralized mid-flight." The case was closed within days, no charges were filed, and Flight 701 was officially classified as a necessary intervention. Weeks later, Jack Turner had not disappeared. He had simply moved on to someone else. Jack Turner's flights breed fear. Sometimes. It's all he needs.
Another case file complete.